following is a presentation of the National Sim Racing League of America. Enjoy the race. Hello everybody, this is Napa Fan here, and this is race number 3 in the 2018 Haas IndyCar Series here in the NRLOA. We are here at the Lime Rock Park for the second road course race of the season, the Grand Prix of Lime Rock. 27 laps of action around this 1.53 mile road course in Parkville, Connecticut. And it's going to be a very interesting one. And we're alongside John Arndt for this event here today. Now, in yesterday's race, Mitchell Henderson started on the pole and led every lap. Do you think we're going to see the same thing here today with Roger Ray starting on the pole? Or do you think these guys are going to mix it up and going to see a little bit of passing for the lead in this one?
It depends on how these drivers race. It's quite possible that the pole sitter will lead every single lap. But if there's a lot of fighting going along the pack, it might be an exciting race.
Definitely
it's
could
a
be.
toss-up.
Definitely could be, and this one's definitely going to be an interesting one. And the veterans have done pretty good at this place before. Now, neither of the past winners of this race are in the field, Matt Tuck and Matt Dalio. But there's a good chance we get a veteran winning here today because we got some of those veterans starting up front, like John Andrews and Davey Johnson. They're both starting in the top 5 for today's race. So definitely good opportunity for those guys. Here's how they line up in the point standings. Justin Zeidel, the Riverside winner, is still the points leader with 83 points towards the championship. Our pole sitter, Roger Ray, is only 15 points behind. The last winner here in the Haas IndyCar Series, Daniel Bouchard, is 17 points behind. Colton Yo, 20 points behind. And Bruno de Barros, 24 points behind, coming into the third race of the season out of 15. So a long ways to go for these guys, but getting the points now could mean a championship once we get to Auto Club in September. Anyways, let's go ahead, get these guys to roll off here for this event. And it is Roger Ray in the number 8, starting on the pole position. He is alongside John Andrews in the number 98. And we got some Penske teammates in row number 2 with the number 2 of Julius Anderson alongside the 22 car of Igor Barreto. Their teammate Davey Johnson will be starting alongside Marcus Sacchi in row number 3. We have ourselves the number 20 of Al Lagasse starting alongside our points leader Justin Zeidel in the 28. Then it's the 17 car of Cody Sill, a Chick-fil-A Cup Series driver, alongside the 14 car of Jordan Lopez, who won his first ever start on Appafan back in 2016. Make sure everybody's rolling off, and they are. It's a long pace lap here. They do go a little bit slower around this course than they do at the oval racetrack, so we got a little bit of time to talk about this one. So Roger Ray's only 15 points behind coming into this race. He has a bonus point for the pole position, so coming into this race he's effectively 14 points behind. Do you think he'll take the points lead away in this one, or will Justin Zeidel be able to hold on?
Depends on where Justin Zeidel finishes. If Justin can finish up near the front, it's quite possible that Zeidel will be able to hold the points lead. But Ray will, if Zeidel finishes in the back, then yeah, Roger Ray, if he leads every single lap, he will be able to take the points lead.
The thing is, if Roger Ray wins this race and Justin Zeidel finishes anywhere from 3rd on back, Ray will be the points leader because it's a 15-point gap between winning the race and finishing 3rd. So the big gap once you get in the top 5 here. So from 1st to 2nd, it's 10 points, and then from 1st to 3rd, it's 15 points. So that's enough for Roger Ray to take the points lead if he can finish ahead of Justin Zeidel and win the race. So we'll see what he can do. He's alongside John Andrews, who is definitely one of the veterans to Napa Fan, no question. Hasn't had too much success, but he's looking to get a win here today, and I think they're going to be side-by-side entering the corner as well. So I think it's going to be a good one here. 27 laps. There will be pit stops in this one. And that will definitely play a major factor into who wins this race. The pit strategy could mean everything here today. It's the Grand Prix of Lime Rock here at the Lime Rock Park, Green Flag Racing here in Connecticut. How about that? The whole shot for John Andrews on the outside lane, getting around Roger Ray at the start. And it's the number 98 holding on to the lead on lap 1, and they are pulling away from the rest of the field as they battle side by side for third. Julius Anderson on his teammate Igor Barretto, he will take it, and Marcus Sacchi will move up to fourth. But the leader, John Andrews, leads lap 1 here at Lime Rock.
It's kind of surprising to watch John Andrews be able to take the lead on the outside in a corner that should have been able to prevail. But here we are watching John Andrews be able to hold the lead from Roger Ray going through this very technical section of the track.
A great job by the veteran of John Andrews, and while he hasn't had too much success on Napa Fan, he's still got a lot more experience than Roger Ray, and that's not to say that Roger Ray's a bad driver. He's second in the points coming into this race. He's also doing really good in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, but just that little bit of experience might have given that lead to John Andrews on the start. Julius Anderson has gotten around Igor Barretto. Marcus Sacchi's trying to get around him here in the number 26. He's drafting right behind the two, and you got Davey Johnson right behind his teammate of Igor Barretto. That is for the 5th position. They remain single file throughout most of this field right now. But we got 3 groups of 2 cars each here. And we got John Andrews, Roger Ray running each other. Julius Anderson, Marcus Sacchi running each other. And Igor Barretto and Davey Johnson running each other. And Johnson will go to the inside of the 22 and try to take 5th away from his teammate.
Marcus Sacchi actually got a little bit loose coming off of that final corner. That was interesting to watch. And he was able to close in a bit.
A lot of drivers, I believe, will be doing that here today. And there goes Johnson by the 22. So Davey Johnson effectively up to the 5th position. And you're right, we will see these guys overshoot a couple of these corners throughout the day. A couple corners, especially coming off of the S's. And I believe the next to last corner of the racetrack as well. That's where we see these guys tend to overshoot just a little bit, and we might see some passes made because of these guys overshooting. It's right here off of this corner. You might see John Andrews hit the curb a little bit. He won't, but we're going to see some others. Julius Anderson, I believe, hit the curb a little bit, and he might lose a little bit of ground to Marcus Sacchi. Sacchi is still right behind this number 2, and both of these guys are in position to possibly strike on these guys if they make a mistake. Roger Ray's trying to dive to the inside, couldn't quite do it on the 98, and he overshot the corner, so that's good for the number 98 of John Andrews, who holds on and continues to lead here in the Grand Prix of Lime Rock.
Andrews has been able to run a very defensive line, while Ray is just trying to be able to take back his lead. But as we saw, he just drove it in way too hard and screwed up on that second to last corner.
Yeah, we don't usually see them overshoot that corner. It's usually the corner before that one where they tend to overshoot. But Roger Ray just tried a little too hard to get to the inside of John Andrews and was unable to make the pass. Meanwhile, Igor Barretto has gotten back around Davey Johnson. Now, these guys are 4.5 seconds behind our leader. So at this point, it's going to take a major mistake by the guys up front or a very, very fast pit stop by these guys if they're going to catch up and possibly have a chance at winning. Here's the number 20 of Al Legacy, Marty Johnson. He's currently running in the top 10. Our defending champion, Luke Rainey, is 9th. And then the 21 car, that is Christian Master, another one of these veteran drivers in the field. He is just inside the top 10. A lot of battling going on here. There's our points that are Justin Zidell, and I believe the way they are currently running right now, Roger Ray would have the points lead on the number 28. But you see Justin Zidell midway through the field here, battling with the 83 of George Harvick. That is for the 14th position, and it looks like Harvick will take it away from him. And it does appear that everybody's still out there on the racetrack, so no incidents on the racetrack at this point, so that's a good thing there. See our last winner, Daniel Bouchard, deep in the field in the number 40. That's not good for him after getting the win at Phoenix last week, or 2 weeks ago, I should say.
I was beginning to wonder about what happened to Zydo, because he was running in the top 5 at the start of the race, and now he's midfield, if not a little bit back. Just started to fall.
He does seem to be struggling. He has lost a lot of ground to George Harvick, who got around him. Max Anderson behind him, Cody Sill. And the 28 does appear to be struggling out there. That's not good for our points leader. He won the last road course race here in the Haas IndyCar Series, but it does not look like he'll win this one. Now, we still got 21 laps to go here at Lime Rock, but it's a tough place to close in on a guy and make a pass. And I believe at this point it's going to all come down to pit stops. And as long as John Andrews gets a fast one down the pit lane, I think he'll be good to go to win this thing. But Roger Ray is not giving up. He's still right behind him, and if John Andrews makes a little mistake, Roger Ray could be there to strike in the number 8.
And Sachi has been able to get around
Julius
the
Anderson.
number. Yeah, Julius Anderson. I saw him trying to do it down going into turn 1, and he was able to get the run off of the corner to be able to take 3rd place.
A great move there by Marcus Sachi. Definitely his best run of the season in the number 26. And he's hoping something happens between the leaders so he can effectively take the lead. And if the leaders were to take each other out, we'd have a pretty good battle for the lead as well. These guys are all on each other. Marcus Sachi, Julius Anderson, and Igor Barreto. Barreto has pulled away from Davey Johnson, who now has Al Lagasse right behind him. That is for the 6th position. It looks like Lagasse is going to try to get to the inside here. Not able to do so quite yet. Luke Rainey got around Marty Johnson, and all 4 Team Penske cars are in the top 5 right now, or top 10, I should say. So a great job by the Team Penske guys. Actually, all 4. They actually have a 5th car, but 4 of their 5 cars are in the top 10 right now, so they're doing a fantastic job here today. And looking good for the Penske guys up front, but it is an Andretti car leading the field, and John Andrews, he has led every lap so far, about to be a third of the way through this event. And he is slightly pulling away from Roger Ray right now, so that jump on the start was all it took for John Andrews to so far dominate this race, and looks like he might get the win, but it's still a long race here. It's not like yesterday's race where Mitchell Henderson dominated and led every lap. It was only 12 laps yesterday. Today it's 27 laps, over twice as much as we saw yesterday, so a lot can happen between now and the finish. There goes Julius Anderson trying to get back around Marcus Sachi. This is good news for Igor Barreto to close in on this battle. Anderson to the inside, and it looks like he might take it.
I guess he was setting up way before the corner even started, and it almost looked like it was going to work, but Sachi was able to get a good run off at the corner, even while he was on the outside line, be able to hold the position. But Anderson is still there, wanting to get past.
And he might very well do so. It looks like Sachi's a little loose here through these corners, and for the lead, Roger Ray closed right back up on John Andrews. This number 8 is fast. He has not fallen off our leader, and he might take the lead here before the cycle of pit stops begins, considering how close he is to John Andrews here. We'll see if he can pressure him into making a mistake. But right now, John Andrews holds on. If he overshoots a corner, however, that could be a new leader here at Lime Rock, with Roger Ray striking right behind him.
Was able to close in 0.4 of a second over that final lap to be able to come in right behind Andrews.
And 2, the draft might play a little bit of a factor as well, especially down the front stretch. It's a pretty long front straightaway here at Lime Rock, and you can get a draft on the guy in front of you. So that might be what's going on with Roger Ray closing in there on the 98. Those guys, they have a 3-second lead on the rest of the field, and that's Julius Anderson, who got back around Marcus Sachi. Sachi ended up losing both 3rd and 4th. He's now down the 5th as Igor Barreto also got around him, but he's going to try to battle for the 4th position right back on the 22.
Meanwhile, the 3 of Davey Johnson is trying to hold off one of the ECR cars, which is turning into an interesting battle. And then there's another Penske car. Luke Rainey is right there behind them, just waiting in position to be able to take over those 2 positions right there.
Yeah, good runs for our defending champion, and Al Legacy in the 20 as well. Davey Johnson, he's actually right where he started. I said he started 5th at the beginning. He's actually started 6th in this race. But he's doing pretty good right now for Team Penske, still running in the top 10. This battle for the lead has been pretty close this whole race, and Roger Ray is yet to pressure John Andrews into making a mistake, but we'll see if he can do so here. The 98 currently leading, but if that 98 overshoots one of these corners, that number 8 could get right to the inside of him. It's a 4-second gap on these guys between 3rd place, so right now it's looking like it's either going to be John Andrews or Roger Ray in victory lane here at Lime Rock, but a lot can happen between now and the finish. You never know if these guys might take each other out. But speaking of taking each other out, nobody's been taken out in this race. Everybody's still on the lead lap, including the number 12 car of Bruno de Barros, who's last right now in the field. Not exactly what he wanted. He comes into this race 5th in the points, but he's going to fall outside the top 5 in the points with a finish like this. Tough break for the 5th Penske driver here in the Lime Rock Grand Prix.
I think Ray is just waiting for Andrews, just watching, not really wanting to attack, just staying right behind him in position. That way, when he's wanting to be able to attempt for the lead, he's right there, but he also doesn't want to be too close to where his tires just start degrading, because these cars, when you get right behind them, you're not able to get the amount of traction that you actually want, compared if you're a little bit behind, because the air that is coming off of these cars.
Definitely, and Roger Ray just stepping back just a little bit so he doesn't eat him up too much, but I mean, these guys will come down for fresh tires at some point throughout this race. It's going to be pretty close to now. I think it's about lap 20 when these guys come down the pit lane. About a 20-lap fuel window. It is only a 1.5-mile racetrack, so the fuel window is probably about 20 laps for these guys, like it normally is at other 1.5-mile racetracks. So we'll probably see them come down at that point, but we'll have to see how it all goes down for those pit stops. I think that's going to be the determining factor at this point. And, I mean, with John Andrews pulling away just a little bit from Roger Ray, that gives more of a cushion to him to come down the pit lane and maybe make a mistake and still come out the leader. So we'll have to see what Andrews can do here. The thing about Andrews, he is one of the veterans. He's been racing since 2015 here on Napa Fan, and a lot of the guys in this series this season are completely new. So Andrews, one of those veteran drivers, definitely showing the experience here today at Lime Rock. He got the jump on the start and has been able to lead every lap so far here in the Grand Prix of Lime Rock. So great job of the number 98 team here today. And John Andrews trying to hold on and get what I would believe would be his first career win in the Haas IndyCar Series.
Andrews has been able to just hit his marks this whole race. Even with a little bit of pressure that was given to him by Roger Ray, he's just been able to continue going forward and not make any mistakes.
Marcus Sacchi trying to get around Igor Barreto for 4th. Davey Johnson has held off Al Legacy, and I think a lot of it right now is that the tires have worn off from earlier on, and it's just a lot harder to pass these guys. So when they come down and get some fresh tires on their race cars, that's when things will change, and I think we'll start to see some more passing. And here we go. Julius Anderson will lead the field down the pit lane, and we have our first takers down the pit lane for what will be the only set of pit stops in today's race. And a lot of these guys are from the back, so these guys trying to get a little bit of an advantage by pitting one lap earlier than the leaders and maybe get some ground on our leaders and possibly have a chance at victory.
A little bit of a short stop here is a okay idea. It might be able to work into their advantage, especially if you were near the front of the pack like Julius Anderson and Igor Barreto. But if you're so far in the back, it's just not going to do much unless you get a really good pit stop at this point.
But what do you got to lose if you're that far back in the field? So they're going to try and take it. So there's Julius Anderson. He's coming out into the racetrack now. And here we go. John Andrews and Roger Ray, they're going to be right on each other here down the pit lane. You see Marcus Sacchi and Davey Johnson. They're a little ways back from those guys. And contact! A little bit of contact there as Bruno de Barros is coming off the pit lane. He hit our leader, John Andrews. That might slow him down. We're just going to have to see. We'll follow with our leaders here on the pit lane. It looks like they're taking a normal stop on that number 98 machine. But that damage could have an effect. We'll see if Roger Ray can get out ahead of them. Now, Roger Ray has that first pit stall. He's at a bit of an advantage here. Will he get off ahead of the 98? No, he won't, but he's going to still be right on him. And we'll see where Julius Anderson is, and here he
right
comes.
there.
And he is going to gain. They are a little ways from each other off the pit lane, and John Andrews was able to get out front. So a great stop there by John Andrews, even with the contact. He's able to continue leading in the 98, but we still got ourselves 10 laps to go, and Roger Ray and Julius Anderson could both easily close in and possibly pressure him for this lead.
Julius Anderson has tires up to temperature, while Roger Ray and John Andrews are still on cold tires. It'll take about a lap for them to come up to heat. While Julius Anderson, Julius is able to go as fast as they can, be able to try to make up as much ground as possible. And as we see, Julius is about to try to go up against Roger Ray for second place.
He is definitely closing in on the number 8, and if he can get around Roger Ray, he might have a chance on John Andrews as well, because he does seem to have a very fast race car in that number 2 machine. Igor Barreto, Al Lagasse, Marcus Sachi, how about Christian Master? Davey Johnson fell back after that set of pit stops, and he's still falling back. Luke Rainey will get to the inside of him. It's a tough break for Davey Johnson. And Marty Johnson will round out the top 10 off the pit lane there. They're still side by side here, as Rainey will get around the number 3. So some guys fell off, other guys didn't. There goes Julius Anderson right by Roger Ray, and I think this race is now effectively between John Andrews and Julius Anderson. We'll see what the gap is. And it looks like they lost a little bit of ground to the 98. That battle did hurt them, but there are still 8 laps to go. Plenty of time for Julius Anderson to make up ground on John Andrews.
I was about to bring up that if Julius Anderson wanted to fight John Andrews for the victory, Julius needed to get past Roger Ray as soon as possible within that lap, because if Julius wasn't going to be able to pass Roger Ray, there would be no chance to be able to fight for the victory.
We'll see what he can do. He does appear to have a faster race car. He's pulling away from the number 8 now. He might just fine-tune that number 2 to perfection, and we'll see if he closes in any time on this lap. Now, we've seen it happen before. It's actually the first race we had here back in 2016. Matt Tuck was the dominant guy of the race, but second place, and I can't remember who it was closing in every single lap. And if there was one more lap in that race, whoever was second at the time, and I can't remember who it was, would have most likely gotten the victory, as he was much faster. We might be seeing that same situation with Julius Anderson. He closed in 2/10 that last time, and that would, just barely be enough. With 8 laps to go, 2/10 from 1.6 seconds. That's enough each time, but he really went off there. That is going to hurt him. And that's exactly what John Andrews wants to see. Now, Andrews has led every single lap so far, even with the pit stop. So, just a dominating performance for the 98 team, and he's looking to get this win. And Julius Anderson might have lost a little bit of ground there as he overshot that corner and hit the curb.
And Roger Ray is looking on the inside. Yeah, he's lost 2/10 after going off track on that little bit. Gonna have to continue hitting his marks.
That was exactly what Julius Anderson did not want to see, and unfortunately it happened for him. Now, John Andrews, you alluded to it earlier, he has been hitting his marks all over the place. We have not seen John Andrews make a mistake like that, like we saw Julius Anderson do. He's going to hit it a little bit, but wasn't as major as Julius Anderson. Yeah.
Might be pushing the track limits a bit, but he's not overdoing it. John Andrews has ran almost a perfect race today.
He definitely has. And if Roger Ray gets back to the inside of Julius Anderson, they even lost ground that lap, so effectively this one is over. Now, the only way anybody other than John Andrews will win this race is if Andrews makes a huge mistake, and as you can see, everybody is still on the lead lap, so we really haven't seen many guys make huge mistakes, and that was a minor mistake there by John Andrews, and that's the first time all day I've seen him overshoot a corner like that. So we'll see if that has any effect on the lead, but considering that Andrews has been able to pull away from Anderson the way he has, I think he's pretty safe right now.
Shouldn't be too worried right now.
So it will be 4 laps to go here in the Grand Prix of Lime Rock, and it's been John Andrews all race long here. See what it closes into. Oh boy, yeah, that mistake is something that he cannot afford to happen again.
But they're fighting for second.
They are.
But they are fighting for second.
Roger Ray trying to get around Julius Anderson. Ray a little off there, but he's going to have the inside. Yeah, that will seal it, I think. Roger Ray knows if Andrews makes another mistake like that, he can close in and possibly battle for the win, but he's just not able to do it. I think Andrews went off a little bit through that corner. And Ray has not been able to get around Anderson either, so Ray's kind of stuck in a bad position here in the number 8, but it's still not over yet, but I really do think this 98 is going to pull off and get the win. We'll see what the gap is this time. And I believe it's probably a little bit more than it was the lap before, and it's 3/10 more, so it's what that side-by-side racing did, and it's going to happen again. Roger Race keeps on getting that run to the inside entering turn 1. He's trying to make it stick here, but he's just not able to do so. Anderson goes a little wide there through the corner, and Ray's trying to get the draft on him, but he just can't make it stick.
I think we're just having a battle for second now for the end of this race, because Andrews has 3 laps to go, coming to 2.
John Andrews made that one little mistake, and he lost a bit of ground there, about 6/10 when he made that mistake. Now, Anderson has pulled away from Roger Ray here, so if one more mistake like that happens, Anderson could still close in. It's 2 laps to go. The gap that time, back to 1.16, so he lost 3/10, he gained 3/10. We'll see what happens here in these final 2 laps. He'd have to gain a half a second each lap here at least. Oh, but that's not good at all for John Andrews. He was massively off the racetrack there, and here is the chance. He might get it. He might get it. We're just going to have to see. He's got a faster run right now, and he might have closed in over a half a second for this lap. We're just going to have to see. John Andrews trying to hold on. He does not want to let this one slip away after leading every single lap up to this point. He cannot afford another mistake like that. White flag in the Grand Prix of Lime Rock for John Andrews in the number 98.
Anderson is now less than a second away. He was able to close up about 4/10. Don't know if he's going to be able to close up the final 7/10 needed.
We'll see. This was the corner where Andrews overshot it last time, and it's not going to happen this time. So it's just that one last corner. If Andrews makes a mistake off that one final corner, then that's it. Just off a little bit, Anderson, he's off a lot more. So that's going to do it. It was a close call, but John Andrews is going to complete a perfect race, or an almost perfect race, I should say. He didn't start on the pole, but he led every single lap, and he's going to effectively get the win. John Andrews, the winner of the Grand Prix of Lime Rock here at the Lime Rock Park. Race 3 of the season, going to the number 98, and a hard-fought second for Julius Anderson. Great run for him here today. Bolsitter Roger Ray was 3rd, and it was Igor Barreto and Al Lagasse rounding out the top 5. But John Andrews, and it's a pretty common theme here this weekend at Lime Rock. Drivers leading every single lap of these races to get the win. I don't believe that happened last year, but not much going on this year here at Lime Rock. But still, a win in the bag for John Andrews and the Andretti Autosport team. And everybody finished on the lead lap as well, so a great race in that right. And John Andrews pulled off one of the more dominating performances of the season here in the Haas IndyCar Series. But next weekend, I believe it's going to be Thursday night when this race goes on, because it's going to be every series at Richmond next weekend. So that race is always one of the better races of the season, and we'll see a lot of good racing there for the Virginia 65K. And it's going to be fun to see who gets the win over there. Now, John Andrews, it's his first win in quite a while here on Napa Fan, but he did it in the Napa car, and he did a great job here at the Lime Rock Park. It'll be 50 points towards the championship, and we'll see how the points fall once we are done. But Marcus Sacchi finished 6th, Christian Master, Luke Rainey, Davey Johnson, and Marty Johnson rounding out the top 10 here at the Lime Rock Park.
It was a good race all around. John Andrews ran the perfect race. Anderson was able to give a little bit of fight, but with Andrews' perfect race, it worked out in Andrews' favor. was a fun race, and I can't wait to be in the booth for if I can do another IndyCar race.
Yeah, we'll have 12 more races left in the season, including the Indianapolis 250. Now, of course, you might be in that one, so who knows once we get there at the end of May. But that's actually coming up pretty fast, guys. I mean, about 6 weeks or so from the time you guys are seeing this, so it's coming. The biggest race of the season on Napa Fan. It's coming, and these guys will be part of it, along with 8 other drivers in Indianapolis 250 only ride, so it's going to be a fun race once we get to it at the end of May. But anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. Congratulations to John Andrews, your winner here at Lime Rock, and here are the points in the Haas IndyCar Series. Tomorrow morning right here on Napa Fan, it's the Chick-fil-A Cup Series from Rockingham. And the 8th race of the season, the Bargs 400, or actually the Bargs 500K, I should say, because we're shortening the race from last season. That'll be a good one there around the Rock in Rockingham, North Carolina. But anyways, thank you guys very much for watching once again. On behalf of John R., congratulations to John Andrews once again. And I will see you guys later. We start, and we can reboot the whole chart before it all falls apart. So stand